Welcome to another episode of the Bamateur Hour. I am Bama John. You can listen to us on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, iHeart Podcast, RSS Podcast. You can go to theBamateurHour.com and see all the different ways you can access us. Please click and subscribe, like us, and we appreciate everyone who tunes in for all the great wisdom you get in our Bamateur Hour podcasts. So we're going to kick this one off now. Today is Sunday, May 16th, 2025, in the year of our Lord. We are blessed to be here and happy to talk about Alabama sports. I'm Bama John again. I'm joined by Will K and Dr. T. And today we are going to do a deeper dive into the Alabama offense. We did the previous episode. We had a robust discussion about the Alabama offense. We talked about the issues in 2024. We dug into the 2025 roster and had quite a lot to say. But after consulting with my fellow Bamateur Hour podcasters, we're going to dig back in. We got a lot more to say about the Alabama offense because there's a lot of question marks out there. There's a lot of scenarios to look at. So we're going to dig in. Will K, you there?
I'm here.
All right. Dr. T?
I'm here and excited to dig in.
All right, let's jump in. All right, first thing is let's talk more about Ryan Grubb and how we anticipate he'll elevate the offense. Will K, Ryan Grubb, new OC. Give us your thoughts.
It'll be different for sure. He was with DeBoer at Washington, took them to a national championship game. I think maybe Michael Penix, I forgot who was in that Heisman race, but he was up there. I think he passed for 4,000 yards and had Roma Dunze, and that offense was the highlight of that team. So I think having Grubb and DeBoer back together will elevate the offense. Won't get into too much of Milrow, but he's gone. They'll have more of a pocket passer with Ty Simpson. I know he's unproven a little bit, but I do think that he adds more of a pocket passer element to it than Milrow. So I have high hopes for the offense this year.
All right, Rick, jump in here. Dr. T, give us the assessment of Grubb and the outlook from your perspective.
Yeah, similar to Will, I think having a bona fide OC this year will be a plus compared to last year, having a wide receiver coach have to step up and be an OC for a first time. I think that showed a little bit throughout the year. And yeah, it'll be great to have a seasoned OC. And who knows, he may have learned a lot more being in the pros for 1 year, and hopefully that'll benefit us this year in 2025.
I'm right there with you guys. I'm very excited about having a proven offensive coordinator who's had great success in multiple spots. And I think the quarterbacks are going to be coached up. I think the offense as a whole is going to be coached up. And I think the other thing to consider is DeBoer. I think he's extremely confident in Ryan Grubb handling things and won't have to worry as much about the offense as he did last year. And I think that's going to allow him to just be the head coach he wants to be and to feel confident in delegating things to Grubb. And my sense is that he and Grubb are on the same page. Dr. T, I think you'll appreciate this. It's like having good doubles partners in tennis, how in sync they can be. I think you're going to get a lot of that synchronicity from coaching this year that may not have been there last year. You had DeBoer taking over a new program, having to fill Saban's shoes, having to worry about a new OC because that wasn't his choice. He wanted Grubb to come here and come with him. And I think he's got the utmost confidence in it because let's face it, Grubb would not be here if Nick Sheridan had been all that. So I think it's going to be an elevation of the coaching, of the orchestration of the offense, and the confidence, and that'll leave Keelin DeBoer to tend to other things and not be as worried about tending to the offense. So I'm excited about that. All right, last thoughts about the coaching before we jump into this whole quarterback conundrum. Will, any parting shots on this topic with Ryan Grubb, or are you ready to move on?
Did you just use the word synchronicity?
He
I did.
did. He did.
You
That
like
is,
that? That's
yeah,
an
that
SAT
was,
word. That's an ACT word.
yeah, that's a pretty good vocab word.
And
I
it
mean,
actually
it's
it actually
it means
rolled
the
off
same
your
thing,
tongue.
but I just never heard it in that form, really. But
Yeah, that was awesome.
um, no, I don't think I have anything. Defense will be mostly the same, if not better. But yeah, offense is the big question for next year.
Ho now. Let's not get ahead of ourselves and talk defense. We're doing a deeper dive into the offense. So,
I
no more
said half
talking
of a
about the
sentence about
defense.
defense. I think we're all right.
Save it for another
Easy,
episode.
Will. Easy, cowboy.
All right, Dr. T.
Saying, I didn't say that much.
He talked a lot about defense, John. I feel like he said a lot.
Yeah, if the word defense even comes up, it's like a
Easy,
stop
Will.
sign.
Easy, Will.
You committed an offense. That's offensive. Don't talk
That's
about
a
defense.
5-yard penalty right there. I'm like, okay.
My bad, my bad. Won't
I'm
happen
sorry.
again.
Yeah.
Dr. T, other thoughts about
Parting
the
shots
coaching?
about the coach.
Yep.
I mean, I think we hammered it pretty well. I just think the second year in the system, DeBoer has his OC back. I just think you're right. There's a level of comfort, as you mentioned, like in doubles. I mean, when you have DeBoer on the sideline, he's not questioning what's about to happen. He's not questioning what's going to happen. He's just kind of coaching, and it'll be like Washington in the sense that I think the offense will be much smoother, and we'll have a real quarterback, in my opinion, a real quarterback this year who knows how to play the position and all the ins and outs of the position. And yeah, I just think it'll be a big step forward this year in 2025 with the offense.
All right. Next topic. I call it the quarterback conundrum. I think
Man,
we
big words, John. Big
Yeah.
words.
Well, if you don't know what the word conundrum means, for all our podcast listeners out there, and we do appreciate you, just throw it into Google and see what the word means. But I think the interesting thing is, I think we've got three talented guys in the room. They're going to have to go get some more quarterbacks. God forbid that all three of those guys get injured. It's going to be nice to have all three, but I think come January, February, there's only going to be one guy left in that room and the other two are going to be gone. I would love it if we can maintain two of the three and not lose two of them. But let me run through that. So let's talk about Ty Simpson first. So Ty Simpson's the lead guy right now. He's in first place. He tentatively has the starting job, but they keep making it clear, and I think they should, that the job is open and that they want to play the best guy and it's not locked up. But from everything that Dr. T shared with me, from what Will and just everything I'm hearing and reading, is it's Ty's job to lose. But they're going to give the other guys as fair a shake as you can while you're trying to get ready for for the season. And we're going to talk about this on another episode. But that Florida State game could be a trap game, and there's some interesting dynamics there that make it much more likely that Florida State's going to be more like the version of the 2 years ago than it was last year's terrible team. But let's run through Ty Simpson. Scenario one: Ty Simpson starts all season, leads Bama to the playoffs, but he comes back for year two. Ty Simpson scenario number two is he has a fantastic season, exceeds all expectations, is a first round draft pick, and he's gone. Scenario number three with Ty Simpson is he loses the QB battle and Keelin takes over and Ty sits and Keelin's leading the troops for the season. And then scenario four is Ty Simpson loses the QB battle. And this could be midseason. Either way, it could be midseason or it could be coming in to the first game. And then Austin Mack actually wins the job. Let's run through the Ty Simpson scenarios. From my perspective, if Ty is not the starter for the whole season, and we get to January and he's second string, he's out of here. He is not going to stick around. So I'm hoping Ty proves out and wins the job. But let's run through those scenarios. Okay, Will, give me some thoughts about Ty and the various scenarios I threw out there.
Well, I think that um, you kind of want to keep Keelan. He might not start this year. He's a little uh, inexperienced, still only a freshman, but he could be like a bridge to Keelin Russell, like Mac Jones was for Bryce Young, or he could be like a AJ McCarron type. But yeah, I think you kind of went through all those. I don't know which one to talk about, but I don't think Tyson is going to lose this QB battle. I think it's pretty much locked up unless Keelan Russell, plays like Bryce Young or something with these next couple months leading into the season. But I think the scenario that I look at that could happen is that Ty Simpson, the first 3 or 4 games are pretty easy. And then he goes to Georgia. He looks mediocre, average, maybe a little bit above average in those first couple games. But then he goes to Georgia and the lights get too bright. And then he just crumbles and we lose by 2 touchdowns or more, and then they're thinking we might need to change at quarterback. I think that Austin Mack is just gone. But with Ty Simpson, I think that Georgia game is going to be a really big indicator if he's going to be the starter for the rest of the season and for the years to come.
So, hey, Will, let me ask you this. So let's say Ty wins the job. He's the guy. And as you say, he goes undefeated. And then we go to Georgia and he loses. But, it's not a blowout. He's not getting killed. But, we lose by a field goal, a touchdown. He's respectable. Um, you know, do you think if he plays okay, but not great, that he keeps the job? Or is your feeling that uh, if he can't beat Georgia or just look great against Georgia, give Keelan an opportunity and let him see if he can lead us?
It would depend on how the game would play out. If we lost by a field goal, but the defense played really well. Maybe they had a touchdown. Jam Miller had a bunch of touchdowns, and we lose by a field goal. But Ty Simpson has like 3 interceptions. Then maybe. But if Ty Simpson throws for like 3 touchdowns, 300 yards, no interceptions, and we lose by a field goal, then no. Um, I would think about 2015 when we played Ole Miss. Nick Saban decided to start Cooper Bateman for whatever reason, and he played horrible. He was yanked in that game, and then Jake Coker came back and nearly brought us back. Um, but yeah, it would depend on how he played, not the outcome of the game. Like I said, 2 touchdowns or more, but the defense plays horrible, and we still score like 35. It'd be different. But yeah, if he's throwing multiple interceptions, making bad reads, getting sacked a lot, I think he's canned.
But you like the idea of Ty is the QB. He's the guy for 1 year, and let's assume we go 10-2, 9-3, but then after that, hand the reins over to Keelan, assuming that he can prove out that he's ready to take over after that year, and then adios Ty. Either go to the pros or transfer. That's kind of the trajectory that you like or foresee. Is that what you're thinking, Will?
Yeah, I think he's more of a bridge quarterback. I mean, he probably won't, but he might be play as well as Mac Jones. I know Mac Jones had Devontae Smith, but something like that. Because you can't really afford to lose Keelan. Because if Ty stays another year, then that'll be his last year. And then who's the quarterback going to be? Because Austin Mack's going to leave. We're going to have some freshman start. So
That's
I
called
think,
the conundrum.
yeah, I think that um, the best case scenario is that Ty is an upperclassman. He's waited his turn. He has a great year. We go to the playoffs, hopefully win the national championship. He's a first round pick. Keelan Russell is the starter next year going forward.
Dr. T, chew it up. Come on, bring it.
Well, I'm going to throw a flag on one thing, okay? John got on Will for bringing up defense, and I'm going to go back about 5 minutes. John brought up Florida State. He went into the season,
Yeah,
Will.
whoa,
That's
come
that. You
on.
can't do that. We're talking about a deeper dive in the offense, not Florida State. Okay, come on.
No.
Anyway, but back to this. I mean, I like the scenario of Ty Simpson having a great year and maybe win the Natty. But I think I see two scenarios. I think most likely is that we have a good year with Ty, and it might be a national championship. And so then it'll be kind of up to DeBoer and the coaching staff about what's been going on behind the scenes as far as, is Ty getting a first round grade? Is he close to first round? I think if he is somewhere around the first round or maybe getting a second round grade, I think he goes. If Keelin has had a great year in practice, a great year in maybe mop up duty against ULM or whoever it is. But if they're not seeing a lot of progression in Keelin in practice, and Ty has a great year, but just not round one, first round potential, he may come back and Keelin, maybe he leaves. I don't know. Maybe he's like Archie Manning. Maybe they talk to him and say, Keelin, one more year, man. You're young. One more year, and you'll have the job after that. The other scenario I see is Ty does stay and then Keelin leaves. In that scenario, I think this offense is easy to recruit quarterbacks. So I think if he leaves, I think we'll get a great freshman next year, another 5-star freshman who will come wait in the wings for Ty's last year. So I think we're going to be okay either way as far as Ty, if he's great. Now, if Ty's bad, it's easy. We have to go a different route. And as y'all know, the best player on Alabama's team is always the backup quarterback. Always is. So we all think Keelan's amazing. I mean, is he? I don't know. I mean, in the 8A game, he has a great arm, but he didn't look that great that day. But maybe in a year, we all go, whoa, this kid's amazing. I don't know. But right now, I don't trust him to go into Florida State first game. So I think the likely scenario is Ty starts, and we have a good year with Ty. I think they're going to hold Keelin back this year. That's my opinion. But the other scenario you mentioned, John, is what if he goes into Georgia, the lights are too bright? Do you put Keelin in? I don't know. It really depends on how they're doing in practice, fall camp, and the first 3 games. It may be they go to Austin Mack just to save Keelin from going into a Georgia game, first game of his career. I don't know. But I like the most likely, in my opinion, is Ty Simpson to the playoffs, and then we'll have the conundrum of does Ty leave or not, and that kind of depends, I think, on his NFL grade. That's my thought.
What year is he? Is he a redshirt junior?
Redshirt
Senior?
junior.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is his 4th year in the program.
Right.
Yeah. But he could stay a 5th year if he has a good year this year and he's progressing, and then he's not a first round or even a second round draft pick. That's going to be really, really interesting. Does he come back or does DeBoer even say, look, you need to transfer? We're handing it over to Keelin. We're not losing him. We sat him this year, let you play, but it's going to be fascinating. It's going to be quite the mystery. And then is Keelin mature enough to say, I need to sit 2 years? The guy's 18. He's not ready for SEC football. I'd be shocked if he takes over and leads us to the playoffs. That would be phenomenal. I mean, apparently he's a great athlete, but just the maturity you have to have, be able to see the reps, to read the defenses, to make the right reads, to deal with particularly the road games.
Right.
I'd be shocked if he can do it, but we're going to find out, and that's going to be interesting. So,
I mean, let me ask you this, John.
Yeah.
Last year, if we had better quarterback play, we're in the playoffs. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
I mean,
I put 3 of the 4 losses squarely on the quarterback.
Right.
And
So
he made some mistakes at the Vanderbilt game that hurt us.
Right.
And but 3 of the 4 losses were his. Well, maybe the OC. You could probably lump the OC in there with him, but I mean, and yeah, it was boom or bust. It
Right.
was explosive play or turnover or take a bad sack. It was rough.
I just think a little better quarterback play, we're in the playoffs. And so I think this year we'll have that. Maybe a lot better, but at least a little better. And I think with another a real offensive coordinator, I think we're all of a sudden we're better. We're just better.
We're not going
Defense.
to drop
I
those.
just said the word defense, Will. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
man.
My bad. The other part of the team is good too, but I just think our offense alone we're automatically better than 9-4 automatically at the gate. So I just think Ty's going to have a good year. And my question to y'all would be this: say we go, we have what, 12 games on the schedule, or maybe 11? I think it's 12.
12 games, yeah.
12 games.
12 game
So
season,
if we go
yes.
10-2 and he's solid, just solid, or we go 11-1 and he's solid, and we go to the playoffs and either win it or advance to the semifinals or the final and lose it. If he has a above average year, I just think he's automatically probably considered a top 3 rounds in the NFL just because he's on a great team. And I just think the scenario of him going pro is really, really likely after this year. That's right.
And I'm going to throw a wrench into there. This is considered this past NFL draft, 2025 draft, was considered one of the worst quarterback drafts in recent
Right.
memory. I mean, for like the past 10 to 15 years, it was bad. And Shador, for some reasons of running his mouth and other things, he dropped like a rock. He probably should have been at least the second round draft pick, but whatever happens, happens. But people are licking their chops. All the scouts, the teams that need quarterbacks are licking their chops for this next year with the Arch Mannings and the Cabe Klubniks and Lamarcus Sellers and just on and on.
Ty Simpson.
Well, I mean, we
Not
hope.
yet.
I want Ty to be that level
Me
because
too.
if he shows out like that, then I think Bama's going to have a great year. They'll be in the playoffs. They'll probably make a big run. I hope he's that level, but I do think that it's going to be harder if he is. Let's say he does a great job of being what this team needs him to be, but he's Greg McElroy, not Tua, or he's Greg McElroy, not not Bryce Young. Then I think there's a real scenario where he says, I need to stay another year. And it's hard your first year to show out like that. And I go back to the Joe Burrow example. You go back to Jaden Daniels. Those guys popped in their second year, not their first year. Joe Burrow, I don't know, third, fourth round had he come out after his junior year at LSU. And Jaden Daniels was not talked about as a first round. And those guys were so much better because they had been through a year of the wars. And so that's why I'm thinking, I think there's a high likelihood that Ty doesn't pop in year one. And Penix, by the way, didn't pop in year one at Washington. It was year two. So I think the betting odds for me is that Ty's going to stay in college one more year after this year. Is it going to be at Alabama, or is he going to jump in the portal, take the Bucks, and go somewhere else because they're handing it over to Keelin? So those are my thoughts on it. All right, Rick, fire back. Give me some feedback.
I mean, I think that's a really likely also. I just think, Ty Simpson, I think I think it depends on how Keelan progresses this year. I mean, if at the end of the season Ty has a good year and the coaches think and everyone thinks, you know what, next year he'll be really good, and he's not quite ready for the NFL after this year, do they force him out for a kid who may be really good in 2 years? I don't know. I think if he has a Greg McElroy year and then we don't know what next year is going to be. Say next year is a Jaden Daniels type year, who knows? But anyway, but if he has an okay year this year, but gets us to the playoffs and we don't lose because of him, then I think I'd be hard pressed to push him away and send him somewhere else because still Keelan's not proven. So do you want to push him out the door and bring in maybe a redshirt freshman Keelan and say, hey, we know you're going to be great? I just think it's hard to do. I think it's either he goes pro or he stays and plays next year as well.
Yeah, that's a good point about the quarterback class next year. It is stacked. So, I mean, even if he's great, there's probably 4, 5, 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round next year, maybe more, because you forget about Carson Beck and Garrett Nussmeier. But, yeah, it'll all just depend on that. We're talking about 2026, not the next year. So,
right.
All right. Anything else on the what I call the Ty Simpson? We can dig in on Keelin Russell next. You guys ready to move on to Keelin?
For sure, yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's go through that. So here's the scenarios with Keelin. Keelin wins the job and he starts day one. I don't
And
think that's likely to happen, but let's mull it over a little bit. Keelin takes over for Ty mid-season and finishes the season as a starter. Keelin is the number two backup all season. And the final one is Keelin redshirts and is number three all season, and Austin Mack beats him out. Jump in there, Will K. Talk to me about Keelin and your thoughts.
I mean, I think we kind of mixed Keelan and Ty together. I think we kind of already talked about a lot of it, but yeah, I mean, I assume that he'll just be the two this next year, probably playing some not so meaningful games just to get some experience. Um, but if he is going to be the starter, I just said this. It'll be Ty Simpson lays an egg against a big game, and they kind of have to go back to the drawing board. Um, so I don't think he'll be the three. Um, so yeah,
yeah, I mean, I
Dr.
think,
T.
yeah, I know, yeah, like Will said, we kind of hit this from a different angle earlier, but I just think Keelan's going to be, um, well, so in 8A game, they had Austin Mack playing. I mean, I don't know how you interpret the 8A game, but Austin Mack was taking the second amount of snaps after Ty Simpson. He was a second string guy that day. Now, I've heard Austin Mack looks really good in practice as well. So all that to say, I just don't think Keelan's going to win the job. I think the survey says on option number one. Number two, Keelan takes over for Simpson midseason. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I just think he's a freshman. Not that I just don't like that scenario. I just feel like it's going to happen the way we said earlier about Ty. Ty's going to be the starter. Keelan's going to come in from opt-up duty with Austin Mack in some games. Another question I have for y'all is, since it's his first year as quarterback, Ty, say you go to Florida State and you get up by 14, 21. Do you play Keelan for experience? I don't think you do. I think you leave Ty in for more experience. And then you play ULM second game. Maybe if you get up a lot, you put Keelan in. But gosh, you kind of want to let Ty get as many reps as possible. So anyway, I think option number one is out. I think option number two is unlikely. I think he's number two all season. I'm going with number three. Survey says, ding. Sorry.
I
I
do I
agree.
do like the idea of if we're beating up on these teams, let's say we're up 28-0 at half, take Ty out and let the other guys get some reps. And
Right.
if they're proving, go out there and play two series and you look bad, okay, take him out, put the other guy in, let him do it. And then if it, all of a sudden it's from 28-0 to 28-14, okay, put Ty back in. But I would like to see the guys get some reps in these Western Kentuckys and Georgia Southerns. And I'm not looking at who we've got
Right.
in those cupcake games, but I want those guys, and I'd like to see Ty rest. But I agree with you. He needs to get some confidence. And if he has a tough outing against Florida State, um, let's say we win, but it's a tough game. We win 17-14 or 21-17, and it's like he's okay. Yeah, get all the reps you need if he doesn't prove out. But I like the idea of giving the other guys reps in that mop up duty and getting them both in there, and particularly whoever they decide is number two. Um, I'm assuming if they make Austin Mack the backup, that they're going to look to redshirt Keelan. So you'll get him in 2-3 games, and I guess you can play him 4 games and still redshirt. But that's my thought on getting in the mop up duties. I'd
I'll
like
tell
to
you
see
something
more.
else, John. I think if it comes out anywhere in the season that Keelan is redshirted, that tells me a lot about him as a young man. I think if he's redshirted, that means he's accepted it, his parents have accepted it, and he's here for the long haul. So I would love that scenario where, at ULM, second game of the season, we played Louisiana Monroe. I love the scenario of Ty's the starter. Austin Mack comes in second half, and Keelan's okay with that. If he is, that means hey, he's thinking I'm going to be the quarterback at Alabama, either in 26 or 27 and 28. And so anyway, I would love that scenario. My favorite scenario would be Ty starts, Austin's backup, Keelan's redshirted. I don't know if that's likely or not, but I love that scenario.
Yep.
I hope he's mature. I hope Keelan's mature enough to play the long game and not demand to play as a sophomore. That he's willing to sit, that he
Right.
sees what Arch Manning's doing and says, God, be patient. I'm 18 years old. I need to get in here and do it and get all the practice reps and not have the big game pressure on me yet and be ready to go. So I'm hoping he'll do that, but I do think we're in a scenario where two of these three guys will be gone come January and will be in other programs, or maybe Ty's getting ready for the pros and Keelan's, they're handing the reins over to him, and Austin Mack's going to get his NIL money because he wants reps and wants to start. And but we'll see. All right, so next scenario, this is the least likely one, is Austin Mack wins the QB battle and starts at FSU. The next one is that Austin's number 2, and at some point they yank Ty, they put Austin in there, and he takes over as the starter. I think the most likely scenario is Austin Mack is the backup. Austin could be the third string. Uh, that could happen as well. And I think if Austin Mack's third string gets beaten out by Keelin as the backup, that Austin's biding his time and he's gone. And all right, Will, jump in here. Any thoughts on the Austin Mack scenario? Give me your comments.
I mean, I've heard good things about him, but I don't really see a scenario where he's like the starter this year. He's pretty good, but it'll be Simpson, and then we're gonna retain Keelan. I think that Austin Mack's probably going to transfer, most likely. Just in a bad spot, behind Keelin Russell. Number one quarterback, 5-star, and then behind Ty Simpson, who's waited his turn. There's just not really a spot for him. I know he came here to follow DeBoer and Grubb, and they like him. They're the ones that recruited him. But it's not like basketball where there's a bunch of substitutions. You play one quarterback the whole
Right.
year, so there's limited spots, and he's just kind of in a bad spot. I think he's a good quarterback, but he'll probably transfer after this year.
I agree.
Dr. T, jump in.
I'm going to go back to Keelan 1 second,
Okay.
and I think it says a lot about him. Now, again, I'm just trying to read between the lines here, but I have to believe that when he committed to come to Alabama, he knew there was a 5-star guy waiting in the wings, Ty Simpson, and I mean, every quarterback wants to start, and every freshman thinks I'm going to start, or I'm going to beat the guy out. I just think when you come to a school like Alabama, and there's a guy who's been waiting 3 years, and I think he was prepared to probably sit this first year. I mean, so I say that to say I think he is here for the long haul. I think he's probably a mature young man or has a good family system behind him, because he could have easily gone to a lot of schools and started that didn't have a Ty Simpson waiting. So anyway, all that back to Austin Mack. I think the likely thing is that he is either the backup or third string all year. That's where I'm going. But yeah, end of the season, I think he transfers somewhere else.
I hate this part of the transfer portal, that guys can't sit and work through the system. And maybe Austin Mack, Ty has a great year, then Austin Mack gets a year under center and starts, and Keelan sits 2 years, and then Austin Mack goes pro, and then it's Keelan's turn. I
Right.
hate that that's where we are, but that's where we are. So we got to live in reality, not in, oh gee, let's, the good old days. I mean, I think college football is still really exciting, but the just the turnover is it's just, I'm just having to say, okay, that's the reality. And we'll just deal with it. And then Alabama will be right back there in the transfer portal trying to get guys, also trying to sign 4-star and 5-star guys to come in as freshmen. But I have a feeling that Alabama will try to get a guy out of the transfer portal next spring to come here because Austin's gone and Keelan's taken over, or Austin and Keelan both left and Ty's back. I think they're going to go to the transfer portal to try to get somebody, and then they're going to go hard and to try to sign 1 or 2 quarterbacks to come in as well. It's going to be fascinating. All right, guys, are we done with the quarterback conundrum and ready to move on to this running back room?
I
Yeah.
believe so.
All right, here we go. So I'm going to break this down in the running back room. I'm going to call them the known quantities. I'm going to call Jam Miller and Richard Young. We have a good idea who those guys are. I'm hoping that they've gotten better and that have improved in the offseason and that they're ready to show that they're SEC caliber starting running backs and have NFL qualities. So I call Jam and Richard the known commodities. I think Jam is not a breakaway runner. I think he runs hard. I think he can run with some power. He's shifty, but he's not going to get to the second level and then leave guys in the dust, aka Derrick Henry. He is not that. Um, Richard Young, I don't know if we got to see him enough to know, can he be an NFL caliber running back? Is he that next great Alabama running back? But I think he's good. I think we've got 2 capable running backs there, but I don't think they're studs that I would say is the next great Alabama running back. But I hope they prove me wrong. I hope they step up and take that next step, and they are one of the great Alabama running backs. I would call Daniel Hill the bulldozer. He is that 6'2", 240 power running back. I like having a guy that you can hand the ball off to, and he's going to power through and get the tough 3 to 5, 6 yards. And for everything I've read and heard, he had a great spring. That's the quick and dirty on that. And then Kevin Riley, A.K. Deere, and Dre Washington are the burners. Apparently, they're very fast. If they get to the second level, they can run away from guys. I'm excited about that, but you have to be a good running back to get to the second level. Are they shifty enough? Can they break tackles? I don't know. So that's the running back room. I think we've got talent in the running back room, but can they be what we need and expect Alabama running backs to be? And I'm also not sure who out of the running back room is really good at catching the ball and being a check down or run a wheel route, to do those kind of things that we would like those running backs to be able to do, to be an added weapon. All right, Will K, jump in here on the running backs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have just one guy who's going to get all of the touches, like a Derrick Henry or a Trent Richardson or even a Najee Harris. It's going to be one of those years where, like, you split between Damian Harris, Josh Jacobs, Najee, and there was another one I'm forgetting. But it's going to be a stable. There's a lot of depth. I mean, 6 running backs. I think all of them could start at a majority of places. A.K. Deere at 5-star. I mean, don't really expect him to play a lot. Um, Kevin Riley, I don't know. I just don't know how they're going to divvy up the playing time. But Jam Miller is going to get the majority of the snaps. Richard Young will get more than he has in the past. And then Dre Washington, I was excited when he came, but looking at all these running backs, I don't know who's going to, because I mean a few of these guys are going to have to sit out. There's only so many snaps and only so much playing time that you can have. I like Jam Miller. He was good last year. He was good the year before. I think that any one of these guys can step up and get some playing time.
Yeah, Daniel Hill at 242 reminds me a little bit of just by his numbers. 6'1", 242 reminds me of Eddie Lacy. Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
He was a big bruiser. And but yeah,
NFL caliber running back, Eddie Lacy. Love it.
that's right. I mean, yeah,
McDonald's
I don't know.
caliber running back.
Say that again.
I said McDonald's caliber running back. He was rookie of the year,
Yeah.
and then he got really fat.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. He sure did. He ate too much. They had to keep him on a diet. I remember that.
Yeah,
The Packers. That's right. He was packing it in, wasn't he?
it was.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I'm with you, Will. It's like, man. I mean, usually, I mean, I say usually, we've had DeBoer one season, and he used two running backs a good bit, and Milrow. But yeah, I mean, I think next year, at the most, what we have three guys who get a lot of time, and I don't know who's going to be. Obviously, Miller and Young, and then is it going to be the Bruiser? Is it going to be the Speedsters? I don't know. That's tough. Hey, another again, like in quarterbacks, you can't keep all these guys next year. There's no way. There's
Yeah.
no way. So
Well,
we'll
I'm
see.
not as worried about losing running backs to
Well,
the
yeah,
portal
that's true.
as I am the quarterback
Right.
position, just because at the
They're
college level,
replaceable.
just like the NFL, there's a lot of guys out there. And as long as we can continue to recruit, then, if three guys get the majority of the snaps and two want to leave, that doesn't bother me as much as if we lost Keelin. I mean,
Right.
that would be rough, but I want one of these guys or two of these guys to really take it to another level versus what we had last year, because I just didn't have a whole lot of faith in the running backs being stellar. So I'm hoping somebody just steps it up, or a couple of guys step it up, and we get that level of running back we're used to seeing in Alabama. That's my take on that. Okay,
Yeah.
Will, any other thoughts on the running backs?
I don't think so. No.
All right, Dr. T.
Yeah. My last thing about running backs is I think you're going to see them utilized more and in a better way this year because of the offensive coordinator and a better quarterback who can kind of read defenses, check down to better running plays, etc. I just think we'll see more. Like last year, I think Jan Miller, it says here, had 668 yards. I mean, that's okay. And then Haynes had 448. And then Young had 146. So he was definitely the third string last year. But I think those numbers will go up for all those guys, for Jam and Young next year a lot.
Yeah, you won't have a quarterback that's basically being used as
Right.
a running back. Jalen Milrow is the fourth SEC quarterback ever, I think, to have 20 rushing touchdowns in a year.
Wow.
So, and Ty Simpson's not going to do that. So, yeah, there will be more use of the running back next year.
Yeah, Jam Miller had 7 touchdowns last year. He's your leading running back. That's too low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That definitely is. And then we saw with Oklahoma, with South Carolina, with Michigan, that they dared Milrow to beat them, and they loaded the line of scrimmage. And we got to be able to do a better job when they're going to come up and load the line of running the ball this year, because that really, and Tennessee particularly as well, they just said, nope, you guys are not going to run the ball, we're going to shut that down. And we didn't have an answer for that. So I'm excited that we're going to be able to answer that if you want to put 8-9 guys in the box, we're going to burn you otherwise. And I'm hoping
Yeah.
that happens this
Hey,
year.
quick trivia question. How many yards do you think, if you don't know already, how many yards a game did Jam Miller average last year? Guess.
I think it's 50 something.
51.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. That'll change this year.
Well, and if he's not doing it, then one of the other guys will be in there getting 80, 90 yards a game. I think.
Right.
I think that Jam will start game 1, but I'm not sure he's going to be the starter game 5.
But y'all, yeah. On average, a good running back will average about how many yards a game, an attempt? Usually about 4 to 5, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
4 to 5.
So Jam had 4.6 yards an attempt last year. So it wasn't like he wasn't good. We just didn't use him enough, in my opinion. But um, right, right, yep.
All right, let's move to the wide receiver. You guys ready to talk about the wide receiver?
Let's do it.
That room is stacked and loaded. I think it's probably the deepest position on the team. You might want to argue defensive backs equally as deep, but we're not talking about the defense. So, but I
Don't
think
you
it's
dare.
stacked. It's stacked. So I committed a party foul, I think. So I mean, stacked and loaded. You got Ryan Williams, he's a stud. Jeremy Bernard, I think he is an NFL caliber receiver. Isaiah Horton, I'm really fired up about having that big possession receiver to can you can throw it to him, get first downs, red zone receiver, go and throw it up and let him go get it in the end zone. He's really, really good from everything that I've seen and everything that I've read. I'm really fired up about that. And then waiting in the rings, you got Rico Scott runs a sub 4.5. You got Lazier Brooks. He's a 4.4 guy. And to me, he's Jalen Waddle. Jalen
Mm-hmm.
Hale, highly recruited. Jalen Mbakwe, he's big. Cole Adams, he's Wes Welker, Julian Edelman type of really effective possession receiver. I'm excited about these guys. Will K, come on, bring it. Hey, Will, your mic's kind of fading in and out. Will, can you hear me? Will, can you hear me? Dr. T, can you hear me?
I hear you fine. Yeah,
Yeah, I think Will's having some kind of connection issue.
yeah, I hear that. So I'm on the receivers, John. Shall I talk about receivers a little bit more?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, go ahead and jump in on the receivers.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the best, as Will said, the best group of receivers we've had in years. And you have an NFL receiver in Ryan Williams, NFL receiver in Bernard, a probable future. A couple other guys are unknown, but probably going to be very well. Cole Adams, like you said, Wes Welker prototype. He is great. He has great hands. He's going to be probably playing the slot. And when you need a third and short, or he's going to be your man. And then, yeah, Brooks looks phenomenal. Brooks is uh, super fast. I've seen some footage of him in practice, and he reminds me of Waddle for sure. I mean, he is very, very quick. And then Hell, I loved Hell before he got injured. He's amazing, so I think he'll be great too. Uh, so it's gonna be fun, fun, fun year with the receiving core, and I think we'll have a quarterback who can get them the ball, which will be great. So
I'm counting on the quarterbacks being able to actually accurately throw the ball at all three levels, and I'm counting on the offensive line giving them enough protection that they can run block and pass block. That we're going to have that balanced offense. But I'm excited about this receiver room.
me too, me too.
I think we've lost Will K. I think he is a casualty to some type of connection. So let's just can Rick, can you hear me?
I cannot hear you through my speakers. No, I only hear you through the house.
Oh boy.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Well, if you can hear me fine, I can keep going then, because I can hear
Okay.
you from over there.
All right, good. I'll talk loud and let it just echo out in the room. So we'll keep pushing forward. Let's. So I think on the offensive line, we've covered it. There's a lot of talent there. They're going to be really good. I think the line is the last thing that we really need to cover, and then we can wrap this up. Let's jump into the line. Here's what I'm going to say. I think we've got 3 proven NFL caliber linemen who are going to start. Caden Proctor at left tackle, Parker Brailsford at center, and Jaden Roberts at right guard. And everything I've read is they're in the running for, to be first, second round, third round at worst draft picks. So it's nice when you got 3 guys like that with experience that have that kind of talent, and we're expecting them to really do well. And I'm showing Cam Dewberry is penciled in at left guard, and then Wilcom Formby's. It's been noted that he's going to start at right tackle, and those are the 2 guys that have got to step up and prove themselves this year. They're highly talented, highly rated, and I think those are going to be the keys to the offensive line. And then if they're not able to do it and step in, then who can take their place and fill the gap? But it's going to be key. We got to have better line play than we had last year, and I'm not sure how much of it had to do with the quarterback, with the OC, with the scheme. But I think the line is a question mark. There's a lot of talent in the room. There's a lot of 4-star and 5-star guys, but are they going to be able to step up and do it? So jump in, Dr. T, and
Yeah.
give me your
So
line assessment.
Dewberry, did he play last year at A&M?
I think so.
Okay. So yeah, I think the left tackle. I think the left tackle is going to be, um, solid. I think the center will be great. I think the right guard will be great. And I think if Dewberry or Vandermark, I expect them to be good. And so the question, I think, the biggest question is going to be the right tackle. Can Formby pass protect? He kind of has. He's a big, as you know, a big guy. I mean, I think he's like 6'8", if I remember correctly. And he doesn't have the best feet, in my opinion. He moves kind of slow as far as shuffling his feet, trying to go back. He's 6'7", 322. So anyway, I think he's a better run blocker than he is pass protector and pass blocker. So somewhere in the year, I'm sure the coaches, if he's not doing a great job protecting the right side, they'll either start using the running backs over there or the tight ends for some extra help. But I like the line overall. I'm real excited about the line. I think we have a lot of good guys and some good depth.
I think we're going to learn a lot in that first game, and it'll be real interesting to see how they hold up in a hostile environment. And we need Wilkin Formby to have improved a lot, and everything they've said is that they're really happy with how he did in the spring. But we need him to step up, and then we need to have somebody behind him who's ready to go if he struggles again this year. But I'm counting on him to have taken a jump, and hopefully they've worked on those lateral quickness drills, foot, and they've also schemed up ways to chip and provide him help when he's got a speed rusher. And I hope they also, when they line up those speed rushers over there, I hope they audible into some run plays and let him just bury the guy and really just beat up on those guys on his side and play to his strengths. So I think that's really important that we get that right tackle solidified, however they do it. And it's going to be a big question mark, but I like the talent in the room, the size, the strength. And so hopefully it's going to play out as we'd like. And in terms of the guys, behind them, I think Gino Vandermark's considered to be well thought of, capable second stringer. You've got this Olas Alinen. They really like him, his size, his strength. They brought in Arkel Anugwam, and I think they like him a lot. So I think there's some guys on the second string that can provide depth given potential for injuries and such. So I'm optimistic about the line. I think they're going to be better for a lot of reasons. And but we need them because, I mean, if we're going to have a good running game, if we're going to be able to run the offense in the passing game. We got to have decent pass protection. So I think all of those things are concerning, but I'm optimistic that they're going to be better as a line this year because I think the line was mediocre last year. I don't think we had a great line. I don't think we were great getting in the red zone and just bulldozing guys. And then we also saw what happened in multiple games with Milroe taking sacks. Some of it his own fault, some of it the line protection not holding up like it was. So, all right, Dr. T, finish it up for us.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I think a good quarterback makes the line better, and vice versa. And I think we'll have better quarterback play in the sense that we don't stand in the pocket way too long. We know how to get check downs to the hot routes. I just think Ty will make the offensive line automatically better. And so, on top of the fact that these guys have been here another year now, I think the offensive line will be a lot better. I also, it's no secret that we play a lot of tennis. John and I do, and so as we were saying yesterday, Andy Roddick talked about Djokovic saying that, hey, he'll take your legs, then he'll take your heart, and then he'll take your soul. And so we were kind of saying how, hopefully Formby, throughout the first half of a game or so, maybe the first three quarters, hopefully Formby can beat on these speed rushers and hopefully take their legs by the third and fourth quarter where the guys can't rush that hard anymore anyway. So I'm with you on that. So I think, yes, the line will be better because they're just better. I think Ty Simpson will make them a little better. And I think Formby is going to be serviceable, and hopefully we can game plan around Formby's weaknesses. And hopefully by the third and fourth quarter, guys are gassed, and we can just pound them even more. So I'm optimistic. I think the offensive line is not going to be a bad spot for us. I think they'll actually be a good thing for us.
And I like the seasoning. I mean, these guys are all a year older. They've gotten a lot of playing experience, and don't discount that of them making a jump from that. And I'm going to be cautiously optimistic that those guys have all taken a jump from last year. And Wilkin and the three studs, and then Cam Dewberry's ready to go. And even though he's changed teams, that he's ready to go. So I'm going to count on that fact that they've had another year to work on things in the offseason, that they're going to make a big jump just because they're older, because they're not freshmen and sophomores or sophomores and juniors, but they're upperclassmen and they're ready to roll. So I'm going to be cautiously optimistic about that. All right, any parting shots, Dr. T? What else as we wrap up this deep dive into the offense and really go into some things that we didn't cover on the last episode?
Not really. I will say this, Will K, basically what happened was John did not like him talking about defense earlier, so he booted him off the show. That's what happened. Or was that John? That was John that talked about defense. That's right. I forgot about that. No, Will K mentioned defense. You're right. That's right. So Will K got the boot tonight, and I got the boot last time we did this. I'm not sure what happened there, but anyway, in summary, the offense is we did a deeper dive tonight in the offense. We think collectively we think Ty Simpson's going to start. He's probably going to be the starter throughout the year. We hope to hang on to Keelin next year either way. And then in summary, the running backs are going to be solid. The receivers are going to be great. Offensive line is going to be solid. I think the offense is going to have a big jump from last year in productivity, and I think we'll see that kind of flesh out against Florida State first game on the road.
I'm going to make one prediction. I think the running back room is going to be an upside surprise. I think they're going to be better than we expect, and it's going to get back to the level that Bama expects out of the running back room. So I think they're going to be better than average. I think it's going to be an upside surprise, and we're going to the playoffs.
I think so.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up, Dr. T. Thank you for joining us. Will K., we lost you into the internet black hole. He had a little technical difficulties. We'll work on that. And thank you for all the listeners for joining us on another episode of the Bamateur Hour. We'll come back hopefully Wednesday with another episode and jump into the defense. And we can talk about defense all we want, and we won't talk offense on that one. So there we go. Thank you for listening, and we appreciate you. Like, subscribe to us on all the different media, wherever you access and listen to this, and have a great night.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.